Recess burritos. Guess what? I finally got a new camera stand. It's super awesome and I really love it. I can move you around. You don't have a bunch of clicking and loud noises. Nothing's jarring and obnoxious. It's amazing and I super love it and I'm very, very, very happy. I told you I would get it. Once again, I told you I would be back at a relative date and time, and I didn't do that. This doesn't go in here. But such is my life. That's kind of how things go for me. I don't know, distracted by life. And I was just making these little tucks to go into a card that I'm making for my sister. And I thought that it would be a nice, quick, I don't know, opening thing where I say hi and how are you all? And how's, not even in frame. How's life been and what is everyone up to and what is everyone working on? I can put this here. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. So I haven't really been up to much. I know that I talked a little bit in the last video about how getting medication has been a little bit difficult lately. I do have meds currently, but we'll see how long that lasts. I was also feeling just a little bit off in the last video, and I am hoping that I am more able to be myself today and possibly, I don't know if it's possible at all, but possibly move a little speedier. For some reason, I feel like my videos just take so very long. I see other makers all over YouTube and their videos are just seemingly never as long as mine. Maybe they have better editors or editing skills of their own. And I don't mean technologically when I say that. I mean like maybe when they make a video they're like, oh, I should cut this part out or be faster about it. And here I am adding side projects into the main video just so that I can say hi. I guess that's just another aspect of who I am. So, when we last left off, I don't even have a cup of water, like I was so unprepared. We had finished all this, we just needed to adhere this page, which is what we are going to do right now, and then I will gesso over top of it. But funny enough, I now have to go wash this. So I'll pause and I'll be right back. And I will bring a cup of water and I'll be prepared. Hello, I'm back. I got a cup of water for paintbrushes and gesso and glue. And I also got a glass of drinking water with a Ouija blanket on it because life's not the same without one. Actually, instead of this glue, I probably should not switch the glue, but wet white glue, sometimes it just seems to fussy up very thin pages. I am not interested in fussying up any pages right now. So we are using Fabrifix. Fabrifix is really good for adhering paper to paper, fabric to fabric, fabric to paper, and This might be like the off-brand. It might be Fabri-Tac or something. But they're all made by the same place. There are differences. They say they have a chart online that says like, oh, this one's better for metal embellishments, this one's better for plastic embellishments, and, you know, like jewelry if you want to add beads onto something and stuff like that. But mostly I just work with paper and fabric, so it's not essential that the type of glue has to be, I don't know, perfect for that. This had glue in it, and now I want this. Just a little pouch from Diane Reedley from Illusions. I like her little pouches. And this is just a bone folder. Bone folders used to be more difficult to get. I remember years ago, a girlfriend and I went out to the, oh, where were we? Were we at Michael's or Joanne? I feel like we were at Joann's. We went out to Joann's and we were looking everywhere for a bone folder, and we were asking an attendant, and the attendant's like, oh, we don't carry those here. Like, all judgmental. We're like, this is the craft store. You don't need that level of judgment in your voice. Like, we're here for craft supplies. You don't have the craft supply we want. But now they're kind of all over. Plus there's like Amazon, of course, and with Amazon all you have to do is know the name of something or be able to describe it, and then it's like, oh, you want this and this and this. It just brings up everything you could ever dream of. So they're a lot easier to find now. I can't say much to the quality of one over another. I have never really compared them. But I got that one. I don't even remember where I got it. I might have gotten it online. I might have gotten it from a brick and mortar store. I really don't know. And this whole door, I think, is crooked. Is it crooked? It might be, but it's not too bad. Wow. And the nice thing about Fabrifix is that it's got like a, I don't know, a jelly-like consistency. So even after you stick it down, you can still kind of move things a little bit. It looks better now. And the other nice thing about Fabrifix is that, so when you squish out the edges, right, to make sure it's adhered at all the corners, and a little bit gets on the page, you can just rub it with your finger, and it turns into like, I don't know, little rubber balls that you can just wipe off. I think, just to make sure this adheres really well, I would like to use one layer of matte medium, or am I going to leave it? Make a quick decision, Ray. Snap, snap, snap. Quick, quick, quick. Go, go, go. Dive, dive, dive. I'm not going to. I have the gesso here. I wanted to add gesso. So we're going to do that now. This is just a pot from Dina Wakely that had her clear gesso in it. I was staying at my partner's house. I'd forgotten to bring gesso. I really needed some, and I'm pretty sure he paid for it. He went online and he was like, here's some clear gesso. I was like, yeah. So we had Amazon deliver it, and I don't know, I'm not super in love with her gesso, but so many people have so many different kinds of gesso that do so many different things, and I am sure that she loves her gesso because it does what she needs it to do. I will say, though, that when this came, it wasn't sealed. There was no tin foil or plastic or thin papery styrofoam seal on this at all. So the first thing I did when I opened it up was spilled it everywhere. But I used all the gesso that was in there, and then I switched it to Liquitex Professional Acrylic Mediums Clear Gesso. I like Liquitex. Some people might not. Liquitex has a very toothy texture when it dries that Clear Gesso does. It is also matte, and I like it. And I liked having a pot. I liked being able to, I will say that for Dina Wakley, like, I love that I can just dip my brush and put cat hair right in it like that, like I just did. Perfect. I love being able to dip my brush in the pot rather than squirt gesso on the page from the bottle that they come in, because I noticed that in the bottle, I always use too much gesso. Like, way. I'm notorious for adding too much product. Oh, no. With this stuff, it was way too much. I would end up having to, like, scoop it back into the bottle because it would just turn into a pool on my page. I was not a fan of the way you administered the gesso from the big bottle. So I like having a little tub. It's very convenient, for me anyways. Someone else might love the bottle. Ta-da! We did it! And we did it in, I don't know, 7 plus however many minutes the first video was, so 15 minutes or less. Proud of myself. Alright, now I'm going to pause the video again, and I will dry this, and then when we come back, I will show you all what the next step is going to be. I am just wiping excess gesso. It doesn't really bother me that there are streaks. That's not a thing that bothers me. But I did want to wipe the excess off where it kind of turns into a little rubber band on there. I'm cleaning my fingers. There's gesso on them. Okay, I'm going to dry this and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I have this all dried, and I wanted to show you an update of how this little journal is coming along. Pages you may not have seen yet. Most of it's the same, but we're going to strategically skip this page. There are a couple of new entries, and I wanted to show you what we are going for, or similar to, on this page, which is this. I have it almost perfectly matched to make it seem as if this store was an original part of this page. It's not, and it's kind of sort of obvious that it's not, but that's kind of the goal, to get it to look somewhat like that. Except for we have a different door and different colors. The next step is for moi to get some white gesso and make a couple of decisions here. I really need to get this in a bigger size. I just haven't been able to justify it yet. Kind of works, but then again it really doesn't. Up here we could probably do this once or twice maybe. So we'll start with brick because that one's easier. And what I like to do is what I like to do is apply it partially on top of the thing we are wanting it to blend with, and partially off from that thing that we are wanting to blend with. You only need a very, very small amount. That's probably too much. And I make it kind of as thin as possible. I don't want a big glob. But I usually end up getting one anyway. And I usually push it right through the stencil altogether because I am definitely that kind of special. And then I just carry it on outwards, marrying different pieces of paper so that they all kind of come together as one scene rather than multiple different pieces of paper. There we go. I like when the bricks are tattered and worn. I like all of that. We'll do one more, a little bit higher. Right here, I think. Sorry, I'm probably covering it up so you can't even see. That's way too much. And I do it anyway. Because that's how I work. Too much? Okay. Sounds good. I've done that way too high, but it's fine. It's fine. This needs to go in water and I don't have water available. Now I need to hurriedly get out the next stencil. We want to put this one right here. Can you still see it? It's up at the top. There we go. That's better. Now I will be covering up part of it so that I can reach up here, trying not to scream in your ear. That went way too far down, but it's okay. I'll fix it. It's fine, I promise. Pinky sweet. It's just artistic. It's not a mistake, it's a happy accident. Yeah. Do a little here. Bring it over. Too far over again, but that's why we have scrapey palette knives. This can theoretically go any direction. I'll go this way. Just a tiny bit here. She says as she scoops into the bucket for more. And even more. See, I told you. I'm notorious for adding too much of everything onto my pieces. That's why my books never want to close. Alright, I only did 4. I should, as frequently as possible, do odd numbers of things on your pages because it is pleasing to the artistic eye. Humans, on average, enjoy things to be categorized, organized, perfect. But when it comes to art, even the art of like creating a human being, asymmetrical and odd numbers are always the way to go. We're going to do up in this corner, and then I'll pause you again, and I will go and wash these stencils off, and I will dry this, and then we will come back and do the next step of locking stuff over. I really need to clean my desk. That's what really needs to happen. I'm so clumsy and messy. I really want to do this one right. It's like real grungy and dirty. I like it. Sometimes I'll run my palette knife through these to define the bricks. I might. Let's see. Let's try and see if my hands are working with me today. I have fibromyalgia, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and ankylosing spondylitis and arthritis. And it can make doing very detailed things very difficult because my hands, they love to shake. So I do what I can, but sometimes it doesn't work out. But it looks like this time it's not horrendous. Whoop, there it goes. When my hands are really in a lot of pain, they'll shake. And when I'm doing pretty good, I'll scrape it through and kind of wiggle it up and down, or left and right, to make sure that the division is very, very clear. But just see, kind of like that. But my hands, I can tell that they're not going to quite do what I want them to do today. And in the meantime, my stencils are drying, which is very bad. Always, always rinse your stencils right out. Take very good care of your stencils. They will last longer, even if they're not very fancy or name brand. The better care you take of your art supplies, especially stencils, the longer they will last. Alrighty, almost one here. And you'll never guess it, but there's kitty cat hair in this gesso too, goodness. I should have reminded myself when I considered getting a cat how, regardless of what color the cat is, the hair will get into everything. Alrighty, I'm gonna go rinse my stencils out before they are ruined forever and ever, and dry this, and I'll see you back. Hello, I'm back. I forgot to mention 2 things to you. I'm just getting a couple of things in order here. I used Liquitex, a professional acrylic medium's super heavy gesso. I also use Art Basics heavy gesso by Primo Marketing. Sometimes if I'm doing this sort of embossed effect, I will use extra heavy gel matte medium as well. Gel matte medium dries clear, and heavy white acrylic heavy gesso dries white. Also, I don't use heat on it because gesso is like colorless acrylic paint, and acrylic paint doesn't really love heat. It will bubble. Unless you want a bubble effect, it can do a really cool thing. This is not dry all the way. I dried it a little bit, but I wanted to do a little bit of watercoloring before everything's all said and done and I let this dry for real. What I have here is a tub of water, and I use just a big gallon of distilled water from Kroger because it will protect. Purified water, I don't know if you get the kind with like added electrolytes and stuff, I don't know, but I know that purified as in distilled water will protect your paints from growing mold, which is kind of a big thing for me right now because we have had a problem in the apartment complex this year with like extreme amounts of humidity. So I use distilled water in my pan watercolor paints. I also, this is Sakura watercolors, Sakura Koi watercolors, and I pulled them out of the big tub that they came in, which is an amazing tub, I love it. It only has one issue. So I love this tub. It has so many wells for mixing colors. It came with 2 watercolor brushes, 2 little sponge things. I pulled a bunch of the pans out. The only issue that I have with this pan, I also have a smaller one. The only issue I have is that I have this smaller one. Watercolors will pool differently on enameled metal from plastic as compared to plastic, and I prefer the way they pool on enameled metal. So like here you see that the paint is dry. If I get one of my brushes wet and mix it into this, the paint will come back to life. But on plastic, they tend to pool like really, really close together, and it's really difficult to bring them back to life afterwards. These are just Sakura Koi in Medine tin, which I really like. It's very heavy duty in my opinion. These, I don't remember the brand of tin this is, but these watercolor paints and these watercolor paints are all from Arteza. I'm testing them. This is like my cools, and this is like my warms and browns. I'm testing them to see if I like them. I haven't fully decided yet. I bought them in the tubes. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I bought them in the tubes. I don't like these tins as much as the Medine. I bought them in the tubes and then I squirt them in here. And I'm not sure if I super love the Artezas because I have had them for a much shorter period of time than I have had the Sakuras. And I haven't done that many paintings and getting really low on the colors here, and I don't know if that's because I go too intensely when I paint, because I do, but I don't go through the Sakuras as fast, so I'm not sure how I feel about that. Ooh, that was so loud. I will definitely try to mute that out. I apologize. Other than that, they seem to work mostly the same as the Sakuras. They're not as chalky, which can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on what type of watercolorist you are. Also, pure watercolorists absolutely do not need these many colors. Pure watercolorists usually use a primary, a warm, and a cool version of certain colors. Like they'll do a black, a brown, a yellow, blue, and a red, I think. And theoretically, with watercolor, you can mix any color you want from those. I'm just testing them, and they had some shades that I really wanted to test. When I put them in here to dry, there is one thing you can do to ensure that they do not crack. See how this one, some of these are having some cracking issues. Maybe you can't see that. Well, you can definitely see that this one's cracking. To prevent cracking like this, one thing that you can do is you can add some vegetable glycerin with a dropper, just a couple of drops of vegetable glycerin. I did not add any in here, and I haven't used this pan in a day or two, and I don't know, maybe you can't tell, but this green one is still a bit moist. So Arteza has that going for them, I guess, or maybe it's just because my apartment is so humid. Also, in the distilled water, one thing I do is I add oxgall liquid from Winsor & Newton, and it increases wetting and flow. It makes it bloom. It's very pretty. I love it. And I just put that in a water bottle that I don't reuse too often. I reuse this a few times and then throw it out. Because I travel, I go. That's why I have all these little pans. That's why I have these little pouches. They all fit in my bag, and then I go about my day running errands and stuff. So I use this a couple times and then throw it out, because even when you use purified water, every time you open this, every time you pour out, every time you add back in, you're exposing it to the elements. So that decreases the, oh gosh, I forget the word. I don't know. It exposes it to the elements, and so it becomes more susceptible to, like, growing mold, for example. Put this back. Alright, next thing I wanted to start, at the very least, if I can get everything away where it belongs. There. Oh, I love my new phone stand. Okay. The next thing I wanted to start was just kind of not really adding color, but sort of beginning to color match. And somewhere I have it written down exactly what these colors are and exactly what order they are in. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. But for the most part, of the second largest set from Sakura, I think the largest set had like neons or glow or something that I didn't use. But for the most part, in here, the only ones that I didn't take over were the shimmers and some of the neons. I may use them. I just didn't feel like I needed to take them everywhere with me. And I am not as big of a fan of the warm colors in life in general as I am of the cool colors. So that is the reason why I left some warm colors in there. I only had so many spaces to work with. I had to make choices. So I opted for more cool colors. So yeah, we are just going to try to see on a blank spot here. It's a little too green. If we can get a close color match. That's a bit green as well. It's not fully dry yet. Let's try, this one's pretty warm and a little dirty. Maybe if I mix. Ooh, that it's too bright, but this could become this pretty easily. But it is definitely too bright. Let's try some ochre in there. Ochre is also too bright, and it's a color shift. How about sienna? Sienna is better. It's really warm right now. Like orange is what I mean. We're looking for something a little bit cooler. It's definitely like a cool browny color. It's got some rather orangey bits in there. That's it. I think, personally, from my lighting anyway. Yes. Yes, see? That like disappeared when I put that on there. You can't even see it. Maybe you can in the camera. I can't see the camera from where I'm sitting. But yeah, see, it doesn't disappear on this one. It's just lighter. But this one, it just completely disappears. So that's definitely correct. What is that? This is sienna. This must be burnt sienna. Alright, let's try some umber. I believe this is raw umber. Oh, yep, there it is. That's going to be as close as we can get, I think. Yeah, it disappeared right onto it. I'll do it again so you can see. Right here, it disappears. Not above, not below, but right here it disappears right into it. Right there. That's good. So we have some relative color matching going on. That's kind of the thing with watercolor. I'm not a watercolor artist. If anything, I would consider myself a mixed media artist, but I know a little about a lot of different kinds of art. The thing with watercolor is the ability to mix colors and get like perfect matches. You're like considered a true watercolorist if you can get the world with your paint. Another thing I like to do, so I'm going to do it now, because I have a problem with never respecting the white in my art. I like to go over the edges with a very dark, intense brown, and oftentimes I'll do it in black because brown just isn't enough for me. When I started this specific art journey, other than thinking to myself, oh, that would work so good in this journal where we're trying to mix all these different techniques, the original goal of doing this collage, decoupage, gesso paint thing was to learn a technique, and in that technique, one of the things that you're supposed to do is like respect the white. The brightest part of the page is wherever you put it, but it's in the middle. I started trying to do that, maybe we're halfway through October at the moment. May, June. I can do many things, but to be pale in my art is apparently not one of those things that I can do. Eventually, I was writing to my sister about it. I think I've told you all that. A few years ago, my sister moved, and she is living out in the middle of nowhere. And she's so far off the grid that her home, she got one, I don't know what it is, but she got one after she moved there, but her home originally didn't even have a mailing address. She has a P.O. box that I mail things to. And so I write her letters. I'm very sad that she is not here anymore. But I try to keep in contact with her as best I can, which I'm not very good at. I was writing her a letter, and I was like, oh, I learned this new technique, and every time I do it, I fail horribly. But I'm so in love with the art that I'm making. So either A, I just give up on it, or B, I eventually learn how to do it. As long as I'm happy and exploring and enjoying the art world, that's kind of all that really matters in the end. And please do not worry about the harsh lines we are creating on the edge. In time, we will definitely soften those lines. But it is just a step that I can do now while the heavy gesso is drying to keep things moving forward. And I'm not worried, not bothered if I get watercolor underneath. Yes, you can pick up watercolor after it dries, some more so than others. But I'll likely just gesso over it anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. So. Alright, how are we doing? Not dry, cold, and ever so slightly damp. This is the next thing I want to get a close color match to. Let's see. I really love these colors. That looks like that's going to be really close, yeah? It disappeared. Now over here it won't, because I don't think you can see my palette from where you are, but this is actually blue. So it won't disappear there. But all we have to do, it's like a turquoise-y blue. I don't know if it's pressure or ultramarine or what exactly. But all we have to do is find a gray or a black. It turned kind of purpley when I added that gray. And then it should slowly start to blend in a bit better. Yes, that is better. That is much better. So, oh, I shouldn't. I just said this is not dry. And here I am putting water on it. That's how you get your heavy body gesso to just gelatinously peel right off your page. That's what you have to do. That's what you're going for. That's how you achieve that right there. So yeah, I can add a base of yellow here. A yellowy, burnt sienna-y situation. But I'm kind of stuck for the moment. We added some of this. That's going to turn dark, so it's fine. Not on that, that's wet. Yeah, I can go over here. Be careful with the wet stuff, right? It's gonna turn dark too, but whatevs. And I will go back over this later on and do some more fine details and blending and that sort of thing. But I just kind of wanted to have a few more minutes chatting, carrying on, talking about life. The good, the bad, the ugly. Yeah. Let's go back to this warmer one, because it seemed to be a really nice little blendy situation I had going on here. Some warmer yellow. Again, I have it written down somewhere, but I don't know where that is, and for the life of me, I could not tell you exactly what colors I'm using. And also, again, it really doesn't matter if I make a mistake or go over where I don't want to be, because we can always go right over it later with other things. Gesso, in certain places you can just pick the color right up, all sorts of things. Just a little bit of this, not a lot. Oh, more here, yes, that looks good against that goldy thing, whatever that is. I think I added some, this yellow ochre. I must not have added any raw sienna. What is that? Raw sienna, burnt sienna, raw umber. Okay, thanks. Thanks, brain. You got me all confuddled. I like that there. That's nice. Remember, not worried. Not worried in the slightest about any mistakes. We can always touch things up later on. Fix them, go over them, touch them up. Anything we want. I mean, worst case scenario, we hate the colors that we've put down and we go over it with white gesso. But that doesn't usually happen. Things just kind of turn out. I think it's because my painting career, license, began in the acrylic painting field. And in acrylic painting, there's just this absolutely ugly stage. It's most of the beginning and the middle. And you just kind of learn to just work through it, because you know that in the end, everything will come together and it'll look right. Okay, that's about all we can really do for now, because these bigger pieces, they're drying, but they're not dry yet. So yeah, except take a deep breath, because I'm going a million miles per hour today. And when it all dries and we come back, we'll do more and we'll make it look beautiful.